What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I do want to look at a certain vehicle that I would say everybody wants in every Need for Speed game. Could you guess it? The Toyota Supra once again here in 2015. Now, the reason why I did want to make this video is it's kind of insane to me that no other recent Need for Speed game even had this thing. And I would almost say this is probably one of the most requested cars behind the GT3 RS that everybody seems to love in basically every racing game. And I really do feel like a lot of players, guys, most likely wanted to see this thing in like even Need for Speed Heat or even something like Need for Speed Unbound. I'm going to get into more of why that really isn't going to be in the game, or at least the reason why people think it isn't, because I really do feel like something is not adding up in that aspect. But even on top of that, guys, you can customize the Supra and do some stuff to it here if you are wondering. Like, for example, I have never played Need for Speed 2015. What can you do to the Supra? Well, there's not going to be a ton of stuff you guys can do to it, but at least it does have some customization on it. And I would say a lot of the stuff, including myself, or at least the upgrades for it, are most likely not even going to be changed because many of the regular things on the car, or at least the way the car does look, looks pretty dang awesome for the most part. And you can change around like the taillights and stuff like that. But we can all agree, guys, the Supra is by far one of the most iconic cars ever. Now, the biggest question I keep asking myself, why is this thing not in the new Need for Speed games? And you know what's funny about that, though, is I've been seeing this question basically being asked everywhere because a lot of players are like, well, wait a second. Where's the Toyota Supra? Why is this car only in 2015? Guys, I know for a fact right now, let me know in the comments below as well. I am not the only person that jumps onto this game once in a while just to hit trees. Totally the reason of what I was actually going to say. But I know for a fact I'm definitely not the only person that jumps onto 2015 just to drive the Supra. I mean, for recent Need for Speed games, this is legit the only game that has it. Payback doesn't have it, Heat doesn't have it, Unbound doesn't have it, and I bet you the next Need for Speed game won't have it either. Hopefully I could be wrong on that. I really hope it does have it. And I would say basically everybody wants the Supra in the game. But seriously though, one thing I really have to ask though, why is the car not in Need for Speed? Now I do know some people apparently was being said, or things were being said, that yes, you cannot have the Supra in a game that has like police chasing, or apparently it's like illegal street racing and stuff like that. You guys want to know what doesn't make sense to me on that, though? If we look at one of the Fast and Furious movies, we see the new Supra in there. I also believe John Cena was driving that car. It was obviously going to be a take on the old Toyota Supra from the old Fast and Furious movies. But here's the thing, though. If you are losing police or chasing police in a movie with a big screen and a bunch of people watching it, and everybody's going to be seeing the Supra, why is it going to be a bit different in like a racing game if it was in there? I'm guessing the biggest thing is probably going to come down to the licensing issues with the Supra or something with Toyota, because now we do see the cars in the recent Motorfest game, and I do know a lot of players jump onto there just to cruise around in the Supra and stuff like that. But to be honest, guys, Need for Speed does have a different feeling than like something like Motorfest, so I really would actually love to see the Supra in the newest Need for Speed game coming out, which is probably next year, I would guess. I would be really shocked if it's this year. Then again, it's possible. We all do know the next year is going to be a new Battlefield game, so I'm guessing the entire crew on the current Need for Speed game that's, being worked on, which is Unbound, probably has a pretty small crew on it. Maybe there's a bunch of other people working on the next game. Who knows? But I would really like to see a Toyota Supra in the next Need for Speed game. Also, guys, excuse my driving for some reason with this car. It's really twitchy or something. I might need to mess with the handling a bit. Not really sure why the car is feeling kind of wonky like that, but that was also a pretty big weird thing in 2015. I will make a video on that for separately about talking about handling and stuff like that. But a lot of things that I do find kind of weird, guys, is I am a huge fan of the Supra. Don't get me wrong, I'm not like a crazy fanboy of the Supra. Like, it's the fastest car in the world, or nothing can beat the Supra. I'm not like that, which, don't get me wrong, I do know the car is fast. I do know you can make it really quick. And I also do know a stock Supra is not going to be very quick unless you upgrade it or drop a crazy amount of money into the car to get it to that said speed that it can do. And for the price of getting an old Supra built, you can probably build a new Supra if you wanted one, even though it's a BMW. Anyway, I would say a lot of players at this point, they're like, come on, man, we gotta get a new Supra in Need for Speed. Like, where is this thing, bro? I do know the car is obviously in Motorfest, way different of a game, though. Like, that doesn't have crazy police chases or just that crazy, really fun adrenaline that Need for Speed really gives you, or like the vibe it gives you. And it really is crazy, guys. I know for a fact I'm not the only person jumping back on 2015 just to drive a Toyota Supra. This thing sounds great. It looks so dang good. And plus, it is the one racing game you can actually jump on with this car in it currently, besides like Forza or Motorfest, or, you know, maybe if other games have a version of the car. Like, you know, it's not a Supra, but it is kind of like Grand Theft Auto, where they would get the model of that car in there, even though it's not actually that car. But even then, at that point, though, a lot of players are still going to use it. Like, I would even jump on GTA and drive it. Man, dude, I am way too used to Need for Speed Heat and Unbound and stuff to where I'm used to, like, brake to drifting and stuff like that. And I have not gotten it down on 2015 after being on it, even though I just did it nice, basically perfect there, unless I'm going too quick or the car's swerving or stuff like that. Who knows? Maybe I am just tripping out. Nonetheless, though, guys, I do want to know what you think about this in the comments below. Like, do you actually think there is a legit reason why the Supra is not in the new Need for Speed games? I really can't find, like, a definitive answer anywhere, man. Everywhere I look, it's just, oh, there was, like, licensing issues. They didn't want the car to be in, like, illegal street racing and stuff like that. But I'm like, wait a minute. We had illegal street racing in the Fast and Furious movie, brother. So, like, what? Like, that just doesn't make sense. Like, a summary with a screen door. Explain it to me, unless, like, maybe the Need for Speed crew or something had, like, a contract with the Supra, and maybe it was only for 2015 or something like that. Maybe they can't get it. Who knows, though? Yeah, who knows? Maybe the next Need for Speed game might be an exception, and they might end up having that car in there. That is a possibility. Is it going to be? Well, I really don't know, because we're not going to know a single thing about that Need for Speed game until who knows when the game's actually farther in development. To be honest, though, guys, I really do want to see this actually be in other racing games. This car is so dang fun to run in 2015, and I would almost guarantee at this point a lot of players are going back to this game just to drive this car because they don't have it in Payback. Like, quick example, guys. Imagine seeing the Supra in something like Need for Speed Payback. Don't get me wrong, I know that game had the speed card system, which nobody basically liked. Personally, not sure if I'm going to get attacked in the comments for this one, but I liked Payback. I actually liked the game. I had a great time. I have like 200 and almost 50 hours in it. I played it a lot. I only have like 60 or 70 hours in Need for Speed 2015, for example. Like the game, but I just like the way Payback was a bit more, only because I'm kind of weird like that. But imagine the Supra being in Payback or even Need for Speed Heat. Like, my goodness, guys, if the Supra was in Heat, that would have been absolutely insane, bro. Like, imagine this game being in Need for Speed Heat. Seriously, that would have been crazy. Or even Unbound. Now, we don't know where the next Need for Speed game is going to take place or what location it's going to be at. But man, dude, a Supra in that new Need for Speed game would be amazing. I do know a lot of players want it. I know I'm not the only one, but I also know I am probably not the only person asking those questions of where this car actually is in new racing games. I do know Forza has it. Forza's goated for that car list. We all do. Motorfest has it, even though that game has its own issues with it. So a lot of players might get on there and go, oh, look, a Supra, and then they're probably going to be like, man, I wish the Supra was in Need for Speed, where I would love to customize it, or at least have that Need for Speed setting with, like, police, or even, like, those crazy nighttime races in a Supra, or, like, some crazy stuff going on in a Supra would be so dang fun. Again, guys, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. I know for a fact everybody loves this car. I do know it's probably, you know, I guess I could say some people might say it's overrated, or even, like, the GT3 911 RS, even though I said that wrong, is also going to be said to be overrated to many people. But every car has its own purpose, guys, and they really do have their own fan base and stuff, so, like, I respect that. I do love the Supra. I've seen a few in real life, and I love how they actually sound. The way they look, the craftsmanship people put into these cars to build them is just absolutely insane. Like, I love it. Hopefully we actually see more of these cars in Need for Speed games, or even other racing games for that matter. But still, the biggest question I keep asking myself is, where is it?